Hi, I'm Ethan Plotkin, supply chain consultant and CEO of GDCA. We're a legacy equipment manufacturer providing discontinued computer boards. Recently, I attended the DoD Maintenance Symposium in Salt Lake City, and it bills itself as the only DoD event solely focused on maintenance of weapon systems and equipment. This year, the theme of the conference was really positioning the US and its allies for the great power struggle, mainly with China, in a contested environment. So there were a few really fresh perspectives that came out of the conference. One was different definitions of risk between the United States government and businesses. Not having parts is something that the government is most concerned with. That affects mission readiness. But when it comes to risk for businesses, the biggest risk is losing money and then not being able to stay in business. Another fresh perspective, program-specific view versus category view of risks. So if you're a program, then you're really concerned with not being able to get parts that you need for your weapon system, like the specific printed circuit card or a nut and a bolt. But a category of risks would be things like raw materials, which are way outside of the remit of a program. For example, China recently barred exports of gallium and germanium to the United States, and these are things that are both needed for manufacture of semiconductors. For innovative solutions, I think that there is something that really jumped out to me. We've been talking for years as a community about acquisition reform, changing the way government buys from industry. The leader of our second panel, Mr. Ken Watson, he talked about what about sustainment reform? As a reformer, 20 years changing the way programs overcome electronics obsolescence, this is music to my ears. So the need for sustainment reform, I think, also then follows into another concept that we talked about, and that was the need for better sustainment metrics. Like, how are we determining how well we're actually sustaining systems? This lines up really well with GDCA's general approach of helping clients make business cases when it comes to whether or not to restart production lines for discontinued products versus upgrade versus last time buy and other more traditional alternatives. From my perspective, these discussions present a rare opportunity for the United States government to, frankly, leapfrog industry and take a more proactive approach to sustaining legacy systems. And I would advise folks both in government and in industry to embrace a supply chain risk management mentality when approaching electronics obsolescence. And that features collaboration with all the supply chain players, including legacy equipment manufacturers like GDCA, instead of just kind of trying to do it yourself. In my capacity as a supply chain network committee chair for the National Defense Industry Association and leader of GDCA, I anticipate a lot more dialogue between US government and industry, frankly, followed by a lot more requirements on industry to demonstrate that we're doing what's required to sustain weapon systems until their natural end of life. Finally, I'll just close and say that if you want to learn more about alternatives to traditional approaches for dealing with electronics obsolescence, check out our GDCA Resources section on gdca.com. In any case, I encourage folks to raise their expectations and drive for solutions, not just to solve electronics obsolescence, but also to prevent them. And until next time, keep on sustaining.